name's Scott Biel. I'm the Director of Safety for MKC. There we go. I'm going to talk today about how to build a training center. We just recently completed a training center in Mound Ridge, Kansas, near our headquarters. It's been a thought in the back of several people's minds there at MKC for several years, and we finally had all the cards fall into place to where we could get this put together. And now that it's put together, we're getting a lot of questions on how do I do one for myself? And so I thought it might be a good topic to talk about here today. So the first step when it comes to putting together a training center is identify the location where you want to put it. If you can find a space that's a central location where more people can come to it, your training center will get used a lot more. Identify the type of building. We were looking at an old, one of our old fuel stations as potentially a location, but everything lined up and we were able to build a brand new facility. One thing I will say about building a facility is make sure it's big enough. Because once it's built, that's what size it is, and things wind up getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the more central the location is, the more utilization you'll get. So it's not just safety training or operations training. We have board meetings there and sales training, and it's a great asset that we have. The second thing you need to do is identify what your needs are. So, as a safety director, my needs are, I need a place to bring a bunch of people and do safety training. But I'm not the only person who needs to use that building. There's also operations. And so we built a grain grading station because we all know that grading grain properly is where we make our money. We also have agronomy employees too, and so catering to them as well. Meeting spaces, we need a place where 50 people can meet. That's not something all our facilities have. So make sure before you build or before you move into an old warehouse or something, you've got your needs identified. Last thing is, get your exhibits. We've got a lot of hands-on training props. We've got a grain engulfment simulator. We've got this axle, it's back axle of a truck. We use that, if our brakes lock up on the highway, how do we cage the brakes so we can get off the highway safely to where we can get repairs? We've got electrical safety. Not everybody who works at MKC works in an elevator. Some people work in the office, and so having hands-on training for that type of employee too is something that's great. These are all on 12 volts, so we can get into the different receptacles and stuff, and if we get shocked, at least it's not 120 volts. Then I've got a picture of our mini elevator. You can see that at Electrosensor's booth here. But when we're tearing down old facilities like feed mills and things like that, take a look at what's something, maybe a small piece of equipment that we can bring in and show people how to do maintenance hands-on. Can I get an audible too? 1 minute?
I think we can go one more minute.
All right. What can we bring into this place where people can be in a controlled environment, figure out how to do maintenance without just going out in the facility and say tighten up the tension on the leg belt. You can also you can take old things or you can build new things, and that's what you see in our mini elevator and our man lift there. One way to build nicer, newer things is to work with your vendors, and that's what we did. So we've got a man lift. We work with Liftco, and they built us a man lift. We worked with BCI, and that's where our leg and drag and conveyor came from, and Electrosensors provided the Hasmon, and a lot of people in this room contributed to our success. So if you have any questions, pull up the GEAPS app. I'm under the speakers list. Give me a call sometime.
Thanks, Scott.